Have you ever pretended you were going away on a big trip and packed your bags to spend the night away from home?
I like to go places.
It's fun to go on a pretend trip, but how would you like to go stay in a giant castle in the mountains?
Yeah! Welcome to the big hotel!
Our adventure begins here at Banff National Park in Alberta, Canada. Banff is Canada's first national park. It is located in the Canadian Rocky Mountains, some of the tallest mountains in North America. The park contains over 2,500 square miles of wilderness, with mountains, forests, rivers, even glaciers. Many millions of years ago, this area was under the sea, so you can find fossils of sea creatures in the mountain rocks.
Wow!
Throughout the park, there are lots of rivers and lakes, mostly caused by glaciers, which are rivers of ice that come down from the mountains. The most famous lake in Banff National Park is Lake Louise. It is known around the world for its beautiful color.
Why is it that color?
Glaciers rub off pieces of rock from the mountains, and those tiny pieces, like dust, fall into the water. They absorb all the colors of the spectrum, except the special blue. So it is reflected back. That's how the water gets its color. Banff National Park is also home to lots of wild animals. The park even has special bridges just for animals, so they can cross the highway safely. There are so many elk, you can even see them roaming the streets of the small towns. In the middle of this beautiful park is the small town of Banff. This town is home to a very special place, our big hotel.
It looks like a castle!
They call it the Castle in the Rockies. It's the Banff Springs Hotel, and it is big. It has almost 800 rooms, 17 restaurants, 50 shops, a golf course, and even a bowling center. When it's full, there are usually over 2,000 guests. People have been coming to the Banff Springs Hotel for over 100 years. In 1888, this man, Cornelius Van Horn, ran the Canadian Pacific Railroad. 35,000 people spent 5 long years building tracks all the way across Canada. But dining cars on the old trains were too heavy for the steam engines to pull up the steep mountains. So the railroad built hotels along the way for passengers to have a nice meal and even spend the night. The Canadian Pacific Company built lots of hotels all across Canada, from the Royal York in Toronto to the Hotel Vancouver in British Columbia. When Mr. Van Horn visited Banff and he saw this view of the Spray River. He called it the $1 Million View. It was so beautiful that he had the company build its biggest and finest hotel right on this spot. The original Banff Springs was made out of wood, but every year workers made it larger and larger. Soon the whole hotel was built with rock, just like a castle. People from all over the world came to the Banff Springs Hotel to enjoy the beauty of the Canadian Rockies and the comfort of this great hotel. There were even movie stars at this hotel, like Lassie. The Banff Springs Hotel is built like a Scottish castle. See how its roof looks like the mountain peaks? Inside, it looks like a palace, with giant rooms and lots of interesting things to look at. The inside of the hotel is beautiful, but it's the views of the Rockies that keep guests coming back again and again. For over 100 years, guests have enjoyed this beautiful hotel in the middle of a wilderness area. Early in the morning, as the sun peeks over the Rockies, you can see elk graze on the hotel golf course. At the hotel, you always know that you are in a national park.
What are they doing?
They are rutting. That means the male elk fight over territory to attract the females. While guests are still asleep, the hotel looks very quiet. But inside, there's lots going on. In the kitchen, cooks make breakfast.
Waffle!
In the bakery, chefs bake loaves of bread, rolls, and pastries in the giant ovens. Some people want meals in their rooms, so the chef prepares meals for room service.
Room service. Good morning, Mr. Smith.
Morning.
While some guests enjoy the early morning, lots of workers are busy inside the hotel. At 7:30 a.m., attendants in the housekeeping department get ready for a big day of cleaning.
And you guys have about 12 rooms each, so we need to finish at 2:30. Okay? Okay, thanks, guys.
This is Pam Morrison. She's the executive housekeeper, and she's in charge of all the people who keep the hotel rooms clean. Pam trains new housekeepers on how to best keep the hotel spotless.
Once the guest has arrived at the hotel, we can really make a difference. I think it's their home away from home, and that's something we have to remember. You can turn that back on again, okay? Yeah. And then you also want to get someone to give you a hand. Okay. We'll get Laura, your supervisor, to help you, because we're also going to move the furniture away from the walls. Okay. Because it gets dusty under the furniture as well. Okay.
It takes a whole team of people to do this big job. This morning, 60 room attendants will clean every corner of every room in the whole hotel.
Housekeeping. Hello.
When housekeepers finish cleaning a room, they recycle almost everything.
Because we're in a national park, it's important that we're taking care of the environment. So we recycle cans and bottles and newspapers and coat hangers, as well as our shampoos.
Dirty laundry comes down this chute and is sorted into bins. Then it is sent for cleaning. The hotel guests use over 16,548 towels every week. Outdoors, there's lots of work to do.
Great. I mean, the Mountaineering that we've developed is really
Supervisors inspect the 27-hole golf course, while landscape crews groom the fairways and the greens. This morning, a horticulturist tends the flowers and masons patch the stonework. For guests, it's time to enjoy the sunshine.
Good morning, Canadian Pacific Banff Springs Hotel. How may I direct your call?
As soon as you hang up with
Meanwhile, at the switchboard, lots of calls come in. Listen.
Okay, I just, one thing that wasn't passed on to me is I just need the dates in March that you're looking for the 2-bedroom suite.
Some people call to make reservations or call for special requests. Those calls get sent to a central place called Royal Service.
Good afternoon, Royal Service. This is Christine. How may I help you? Certainly, would that be for this evening, sir? 6:30? Certainly. And what is the last
Royal Service receives almost 1,300 calls a day.
For party of 4 and non-smoking?
They help with reservations, repairs, directions, anything a guest wants.
You're welcome. Enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.
New guests arrive to check in.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine.
At the hotel, there's even a check-in place just for kids.
It's our kids' check-in. Have you stayed with us before?
No, this is our first time.
Oh, welcome to the Banff Springs.
During check-in, guests get room keys. They are special plastic cards that have been made the night before.
Give it back to us. There you go. You're welcome.
How are they made?
Hotel keys are made with a special computer system. Each key is coded with the room number and how long the guest will stay. New keys are made for arriving guests, and all the old keys are recycled.
This is a dining guide. And it does have the times and the locations for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Front desk agents speak many languages because people come here from all over the world.
Bonjour.
J'ai une réservation pour ce soir.
OK, votre nom?
Linda Garin.
That's French.
Some agents also speak Spanish and Japanese. At this desk, you can hear German. Listen.
Ja, wir haben ein Schwimmbad. Sie brauchen Ihre Schlüssel für den Zimmer. Und es ist offen von 6 Uhr in der Früh bis 10 Uhr abends.
There are people from 40 different countries working at the big hotel.
Votre bureau de chambre au 7e étage. Vous pouvez prendre les ascenseurs à la gauche du bureau du chasseur.
After check-in, the bellman brings guest luggage to the room. This is a hectic job. The bell station handles over 2,000 bags every day.
Bellman.
Hi, can I help you? And the Queen's mail goes out at 3 o'clock.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, 9:42. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
This is Dave Moberg. He's in charge of making sure all the guests are taken care of, from the time they arrive to the time they leave.
It is very nice, especially when the sun's up. Yeah, you just go down past the hotel, past the tennis courts, you come to Phil's Pancake House. My team checks you in, has your luggage transferred up to your room, explains the room features and guest services. Have a nice afternoon. If you need any transportation needs, we go ahead and we help you there. If you need a taxi, we call a taxi for you. If you need your skis repaired or you need rental skis, we assist you there. We deliver faxes, just about anything you need.
Even a horse and buggy ride.
My pleasure. You too.
After breakfast, there's lots to do. This is the chief steward, Jenny Hasler. She's in charge of all the kitchens at the hotel.
I make sure that all the glassware, china, silverware are all washed and clean and ready for the dining rooms and the cooks so they can prepare the hot meals to put the food on. We have over 90 staff that we schedule.
The hotel prepares over 1,000 breakfasts every morning, and that means there are lots of dirty dishes. And to clean that many dishes, it takes a lot of people and a giant dishwasher. The team in the kitchen has to clean over 34,000 pieces of dishware and utensils every day.
Wow, that's a lot.
There are 20,000 utensils to eat with. They are washed and then sorted into separate bins for knives, forks, and spoons.
What's she doing?
She's burnishing the silver. This special machine makes dull utensils shiny and silver again. While the kitchen staff stays busy with the dishes, other workers keep the hotel looking great. There are lots of other places that need to stay clean and shiny. Workers clean the hotel around the clock. Now it's time for fun. There's lots to do outside in the summertime. These waterfalls are right below the hotel, and there's lots of trails for hiking and riding. But there's also lots to do inside.
Those are small bowling balls.
That's Canadian bowling. They use smaller balls and only 5 pins.
I think so. Can I call the room back?
This is the concierge desk.
Concierge?
Concierge means keeper of the house. Concierge helps guests arrange any activity they want.
And, well, there are quite a few hotels close to the airport, so let's see what we can do.
Horseback ride at 1 o'clock.
At the base. Yeah, the gondola. Yeah, no, it's for guests of ours here. We have 2 people, smoking or non-smoking.
For 10 o'clock.
This is Rory, a concierge.
Well, what a concierge does is basically everything and anything that a guest would like us to do. So everything from dining reservations to booking horseback ride trips, float trips, basically whatever they ask us to do, we try and do.
A concierge might get a funny question or request from a guest.
When do they let the animals out? Where will the animals be at certain times of day? You feel like you should have a schedule for where the elks should be at 8:15 in the morning, but they don't quite do that. We also have had wedding proposals that we set up in the hotel as well, too. So lots of things like that that are unique for us.
All right, enjoy your day. Take care. Eat away.
Hotel guests have always been attracted to the mountains. In the early days, mountain guides from Switzerland took visitors up to the snow-capped peaks. Today, there are mountaineering programs for everyone. This is a rock climbing class for kids.
Wow, I'd like to do that.
Matthias Ahrens is a professional mountaineering guide.
I feel very proud continuing the historical process of mountain guides, having been guiding for Canadian Pacific hotels in the past. And so it's a nice continuation of what was started 100 years ago.
We are going to climb that sheer rock.
Wow!
First, Matthias explains how all the equipment works.
Some of you haven't been using rock shoes yet. So you see there is no tread on your climbing shoes. If you compare it here, on a hiking boot, you have tread to get traction in the different terrain and rough surfaces. For rock climbing, you want actually a smooth sole, a very sticky sole. It's very sticky rubber, and that you need to get enough friction that it sticks onto the rock. Okay, come a little bit out with your body like this to stay right with your weight right above your feet, like that position. That's good. If you go too far inside like this, what the shoes do, they come up and then they don't get enough friction. So stay right above your forefoot. Okay, yeah, move outwards a little bit. That's it. Okay, good, perfect. Small steps. You're doing that nice, and that way all the work is done by your feet instead of your arms.
This is Rundle Rock, just a short hike from the hotel.
Good.
Like all the mountains in this area,
stump.
it was once part of the ocean.
Good. You know what happened here? At one point, this is actually a very old coral reef. And at one point, this all was here covered by the ocean, and with lots of layers of mud and clay and sand. And then when the earth pushed it up and tilted it and folded it into mountains, everything hardened, and still in some layers you can find some crustaceans, like those shells. And if you watch it, as we will be climbing here, you might see more along this coral reef.
Oh, I see one.
You see one?
See the blue fins?
Right, you mean the orange? Or?
Yeah, the orange.
That is actually a lichen. That's still living. It's a plant, which is eventually eating up the rock. It's all a very early form of life on Earth, and it eventually will eat up the rock. Here you see this orange lichen. Yeah. It creates some acid, and that is breaking up the rock. So eventually, by the erosion of the wind and water, the mountains erode. Eventually it will break down the rock back into soil. So it's a circle of life, what you really see here. It came out of the ocean and goes back into the ocean. That's why I call the Rockies on the way to the ocean. So, we'll climb this rock, huh?
No way.
No way? You're already halfway up.
Now it's time to learn to climb.
Let's go!
Rock climbing, for example, with kids actually comes very natural. Kids like to climb trees, like to climb rocks, so the natural movement is actually there. It just has to be developed in the way that they have to learn how to move safe, in control, and they have to learn certain skills in the way of the use of the equipment, and then it's a lot of fun for them, and it's safe.
It looks like a long way up.
You have done that before, huh? All right, guys. Yeah, just come across here. Okay, all the way across here. If you step over there. Yeah, that's good. Excellent. Congratulations for making it up the summit. Okay, so let's go slow over there.
Everyone in the class makes it to the top. You can even see the hotel in the distance.
Wow!
Okay.
In a giant castle, there is always work to do. Things don't always stay fixed, so the hotel has a team of talented people who fix things that are broken or worn out. The hotel is like a small city. It has its own team of electricians to fix sockets and things. It also has its own carpentry shop. Here, carpenters repair and refinish furniture. There is even an upholstery shop, where skilled workers use hundreds of different fabrics for covering furniture. Some special fabrics cost hundreds of dollars per square yard. Out in the lobby, you can see the finished product. The carpentry shop even built this grandfather clock right in the hotel shop.
Wow, that's a nice clock.
This is the boiler room. It supplies all the hotel's hot water and all the heat for the rooms. Engineer Daryl Chomick makes sure it's all working properly.
It has three boilers and a whole pile of hot water and domestic water pumps and heat exchangers. And it's basically one big mechanical room is what it is down in the boiler room. Well, I guess it's an absolute must. In the wintertime, you sure love to have your heat, don't you? So it's with the heating and the cooling that we do, that's essential to keeping our guests happy.
While workers are busy keeping up the hotel, security looks after guest safety. Tom Wolentowitz is on security patrol.
Basically, my job is to make sure our guests are safe, the hotel building is safe, and our workers are safe. We patrol the hotel day and night, 24 hours a day.
Jason from Housekeeping can look after that.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Okay, I'll give Jason a call then.
Tom and his partner patrol all over the hotel in their police car. They communicate with two-way radios. Throughout the day and night, the security team watches over the hotel. In the afternoon, guests enjoy the indoor and outdoor pools. Some work out in the gym. While others go to the spa. One of the busiest places at the hotel is the kitchen. And the man in charge is Chef Martin Luthi. He's from Switzerland, and he loves running this busy kitchen.
Great, thanks.
There are 165 cooks and 143 servers to take care of all the hungry people.
They will be here in a minute. Thanks.
I coordinate all the dining, all the food services in the hotel, and I look after all the cooks and the food services in the hotel.
Chef Luthi checks with everyone in the kitchen to make sure everything is going well. No matter how busy it gets, Chef Luthi loves his job.
It's hectic. We have a lot of work to do here, and it gets very, very busy at times, but it's a lot of fun.
Okay. All right, might be busy today, room service. Okay. All right. Quality all right? Okay.
I don't even remember a time when I did not want to be a cook. As far as I remember, I always wanted to be a cook, and I used to watch the hotel in the town I lived in. I used to watch through the window what they were doing, and that kind of got me going.
The hotel uses a lot of food. Every year, they serve over 40,000 pounds of fresh salmon.
Wow, that's a lot of fish.
In the butcher shop, they specially cut pieces of meat for the kitchen.
Okay. Quality all right?
The butcher uses a glove made of special metal cloth called mail to protect his hand, like knights used to wear.
Cool.
Before you start eating, you actually eat with your eyes first, and you see what you want to see. You want to see the colors and the fresh food, and the appearance has to be good, so it looks appealing to the people. Very nice, beautiful. I want to eat that myself. Okay, the waiter is here. We can pick it up.
Sometimes Chef Luthi likes to prepare a dish himself.
Okay.
It takes a talented team of people to make the final creation look great. This is the fun part of the kitchen, the pastry shop.
We have 14 cooks in the pastry shop, and they prepare all the pastries for the hotel, so that's a very busy place. They do kids' birthday cakes and pastries, cookies, and kind of stuff.
In the pastry shop, cooks make all kinds of great things to eat. Watch. This cook even creates a sculpture out of melted sugar. He works very carefully to make something really special. The famous $1 Million View is beautiful in the summer, but it's also great in the winter. In winter, the hotel becomes a winter wonderland. The falls below the hotel are almost frozen, and the golf course is covered with snow. But there are so many fun things to do in the snow. You can fish in the icy river, walk to the ski area, or take the gondola up to the top of Sulphur Mountain. From the summit, you can see the hotel. You can go on a dog sled ride through the snowy woods.
Let's go!
The driver gives commands to the dogs and guides them on the path. It's cold, but it's fun.
Good dogs, working hard. Go, hike.
Another winter activity is a snowshoe hike. Just outside the hotel, guide Bruce Benbridge takes guests on hikes through the snowy forest.
So even the old style changed some. See what you can do. Oh, well done.
Snowshoes keep you from sinking into the deep snow. Bruce helps get the shoes adjusted, and soon, everything's ready.
And you gotta remember that snowshoes are a little bit like wearing your mom or dad's slippers. They're gonna feel loose and a little floppy, but you try to walk just as normally as you can.
Bruce puts on his own snowshoes and takes his dog Nutmeg into the forest. Bruce stops along the way to tell interesting facts about the area.
Virtually all of the mountains in the Rockies, especially the Front Range mountains, are long, linear mountains. More than 20, 30,000 years ago, when the glaciers filled up this valley with ice, they cut these valleys through here. So we got a valley between Rundle Mountain and Sleeping Buffalo Mountain, and another valley between Sleeping Buffalo and Cascade Mountain. So let's head off here into the woods. It's a good place here to kind of stay in a single file. Late summer, the bull elks have grown their huge antlers, and they need to rub off the velvet that's on them. And he gets his head right in here, and he just rubs up and down. And when you look at their face, it must feel just the way we do when we gotta scratch our backs. You know, you get that itchy spot. And that stuff's itchy, apparently. So this is the way they can scratch it and itch it and get it off their antlers. Lots of neat stuff all over the place. what the squirrel's been doing, and this is as fresh as this morning. He's been nibbling off all these little bracts. See how they come off? And underneath, inside of each one of them, are two little wings. I'm trying to find it. There's one, Charlie. See it there?
Yeah.
See, that's the seed. And that's tiny. But the squirrel has to make his whole meal out of a seed like that. And then let's see if we can make a fly. Watch. There.
It's fun to stop along the way for some hot chocolate and fresh baked cookies. Being out in the wild country is something very special.
River here?
Even at 40 below zero, the river still flows. Up above Banff, that water is hot enough to have a hot bath in. Spring and every fall, the golden eagles fly. Already in March, they're coming up from Colorado, and they literally fly along the edge of the Rocky Mountains. And if you think of the wind like waves, they're surfing, because the wind hits the mountains and causes waves. And so they surf all the way from Colorado up to Alaska.
At the end of the day, the flag is lowered. A member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police supervises the ceremony and accepts the flag. As the sun goes down, the hotel lights up. Guests enjoy themselves with drinks and dinner. While people eat dinner, the housekeeping staff turn down everyone's bed for the night. There's even a special treat.
Chocolate.
Some guests take time for shopping. Tomorrow will be another day, and at the big hotel, the action will start all over again.
It's a large castle. It's the castle in the Rockies, the Banff Springs Hotel. It's a place that's easy to get lost. It's like a maze, so it's a lot of fun.
It's wonderful. I love working here. I mean, every day when you walk out, you see these mountains. It's beautiful.
The best thing that we can do is make sure that a guest has a phenomenal experience, add to their trip, make something special happen during their trip. Then we've done what we're supposed to do.
Well, it's very unique. It's a heritage hotel. We're in a world-class setting. You realize that when you go away on vacation, you come back. It's like living in paradise. You know, would never want to leave.
Here's how you can find out more information about topics mentioned in this video. Use your computer and look up these websites. And remember to check out the Little Mammoth website at www.littlemammoth.com.